News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. Bill Peckney, an author and climate scientist who lives in Midway, Utah, has written a book entitled A Tale of Two Climates, One Real, One Imaginary. He said the title means the climate is natural, what he calls the real climate, and the other imaginary one is the scenario of climate change.
So I try to tell in an easy-to-read manner what the other side of the story is, that being not the one that you see in the media so much these days, rather the one from a scientist who's lived with meteorology and science my whole career.
He said our hurricane season lasts from the 1st of June to the 1st of November.
And we're just now in late August and early September come into the peak of the hurricane season. And that's just from historical records, the way that we measure the length of the hurricane season. And so we're getting there. Now, it did start off this year, like last year, to be fairly active early on, but it's tailed off.
He said that at the end of last week, right before tropical storms Fred and Grace converged on the eastern United States. Now, he said data over the years shows there has been no increasing trend in tropical cyclone or hurricane numbers. But he said if you watch enough national news coverage, you might think differently. KBNU News Time is 4:07. KBNU weather for tonight. Areas of smoke, other than that, mostly clear, low in the mid-50s, and then partly cloudy areas of smoke on Tuesday, high in the mid-90s. Areas of smoke Tuesday evening, and then a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms developing. Cloudy with rain showers likely, slight chance of thunderstorms after midnight Tuesday night. Showers a possibility and much cooler on Wednesday, only in the mid-70s. It's been to 94. It's 93 right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. Work with their Cache Valley team to build a stronger, more durable, long-lasting structure for your needs. Visit northernsteelbuilding.com. Call 435-677-7300.
Oh, we live in a great area. Are you just back from a camping trip? Don't take your sleeping bags to the dry cleaner. Come to Mount Logan Laundry. For just a few quarters, our 55 or 80-pound washers and 80-pound dryers will have those bags clean for your next trip. Mount Logan Laundry has free Wi-Fi and drop-off service, plus they're open until midnight. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town. Find them at 5th East and 9th North in Logan or in Brigham City on the corner of 1st East and 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry.
KBNU News Time is 4:08. The alleged suspect in a shooting that sent one male to the hospital via life flight was arrested and identified by law enforcement. Police say that 19-year-old Jeremy Thompson was taken into custody after being identified as the suspected shooter during an altercation at a house party on Sunday in South Jordan. A probable cause statement for Thompson stated police arrived at the home after reports of shots fired with a description of the shooter. Officers worked on evacuating the home after the victim was taken out of the home by other partygoers. According to the arrest documents, while officers were evacuating the other guests, they noticed a male that matched the description of the shooter that they had been given prior. They detained Thompson after the evacuations. And of course, rent and housing is tight here, but also in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. A hot housing market is putting the squeeze on renters in Jackson Hole more than ever. High prices are encouraging landlords to sell properties and give tenants the boot. That leaves renters scrambling to find housing at ever higher rents. The Jackson Hole News and Guide reports teachers, resort employees, and lifelong residents all report struggling to find housing after being evicted this summer. Tricia Kalish with Teton County Access to Justice says that landlords usually are careful about how they evict tenants. Even so, Kalish says the group's caseload of tenant-landlord disputes has quadrupled something she attributes to the housing market and easing of the pandemic. KVNU News Time is 4:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Stay informed, stay connected. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, and online at 610kvnu.com.
If you're like most local residents, you have a huge influx of creepy crawlers invading your home. Right now, the nasty elm seed beetle is all over northern Utah. But there is a solution. Call Logan Extermination today for a full exterior spray. Their full exterior spray includes foundations and eaves and will kill those nasty spiders, wasps, box elder bugs, and the new nuisance elm seed beetles. And best of all, prices start at only $85. Call Logan Extermination today for details. 752-8450.
Adams Wealth Advisors' entire team says, thank you, Cache Valley, for voting them the best financial planner in the Best of Northern Utah competition. Honesty and integrity is the hallmark of Adams Wealth Advisors. Let them earn your trust today.
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind, whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit adamswealthadvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today. Please see adamswealthadvisors.com for more information on these recent awards.
Trouble with pain, sleep, or anxiety? Want better health? Try CBD7, the CBD experts. You simply can't get this water-soluble CBD at grocery, convenience, or health food stores. Water-soluble CBD7 absorbs 15 times better and tastes great. CBD7 has the only clinically proven formula with real measurable results. Many feel better in minutes. CBD7 is not a drug and has no side effects. Other CBDs just can't do all that. Visit CBD7 today. Learn about CBD and try our best for free.
Oh, little piggy! Let me in or I'll blow this building down!
Nice try, Wolfie, but this here building's made from steel.
All right then, here goes! Gosh, that didn't work.
A building from Northern Steel Buildings will keep out the big bad wolf, and they don't break the piggy bank. Visit northernsteelbuildings.com to see their quality work or call 435-677-7300. Northern Steel Buildings, value from concept to construction.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show. We will be diving into the latest on Afghanistan, and we will have the governor of Tennessee as well as Tommy Lahren joining us. Buck, what else?
Also going to be looking at the COVID passports instituted in some cities across the country and booster shots coming up from Dr. Fauci and more. We'll get into that with you on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show, Tuesday edition.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
I was told that I wasn't to say anything unless I was asked about it secretly, that I should keep anything I'm feeling inside buried extra deep.
Hey, this is Grace Gosted. I'm a singer-songwriter, and like many, I've been traumatized by years of bullying. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're gay, you're worthless. I've felt fear, humiliation, and shame. Bullying causes real harm and can result in severe long-term depression, anxiety, addiction, and even self-harm. I created the Black Box Project for anyone who has ever felt different for any reason. So what are you hiding? What are you feeling? Go to theblackboxproject.org to hear from me, a mental health expert, and find resources to help you take the first step on the road to healing. Again, go to theblackboxproject.org. You are not alone.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People, Monday, August 16th. We'll behind-the-scenes look into the show here, getting a delayed start today because software, man, it's supposed to make life easier, right, Bill?
Yes.
But
Most of the time it does.
Most of the time. But, yeah, we've got things resolved here. Once in a while, software just completely goes kaput, and everything's so software-oriented in radio these days.
That's the world we live in.
That's right. Though it sounds the same to listeners, and you're probably listening right now, most likely listening the same way you always have, some sort of tuner electronic device. Maybe you're listening on the app or the website. But
with giant tubes.
That's right. But behind the scenes...
Transistor tubes.
Yeah, behind the scenes, we are in an almost entirely digital world these days on the back end of radio. So,
but we're real. We're not robots.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Bill and I are not software.
Not yet.
As you can hear from my coughing, man, the smoke in the air is killing me. It is. And of course, last week when we had those 2-3 clear days, I didn't have any outside work those days. Today, outside all day long. And then usually the coughing goes away by about 5:40 when we have 20 minutes of the show left. But
you should probably just start the show at 5:40.
I am sensitive to. Yeah, maybe we should just set it back a couple of hours. I have my V8 here to help me clear my throat.
Help?
Yeah, the acidic drinks, they really do help.
I'll have to try that because my problem is if I eat something, then I just without going into the gross details, I just have all this extra phlegm and stuff, and then I
stay away from the salty peanuts for sure.
I usually do, but it just seems like if I eat anything, then I'm just I don't know. I have to clear my throat constantly, and if I'm reading a commercial or a news story,
that's when it pops up.
I usually have to redo the news if a recorded newscast. I usually have to re-record it because my throat's
amazed.
all weird.
I was thinking about this in the decade plus 14 years actually as of last week that I've watched you do the news live for 2 hours during the 2-hour show each day. I've only seen you have to mute your mic twice, I think, maybe 3 times. One time for coughing, three times because one was for coughing, 2
for laughing,
were for news stories that just had some humorous text.
Yeah, and usually was the case is that you and somebody else would start. I could hear you guys laughing in the background about it.
That's right, and then you feel bad.
Then I'd start laughing.
One of the stories I won't repeat this on air which story it was because the story actually involved a tragic incident. The person ended up being okay, but it was, I would imagine, a very traumatic incident. But when you got to the line, I won't even do it. People will figure out which one we laughed at, and then they'll be offended. But it involved something you wouldn't expect at all to be a traumatic experience. An animal that is normally very peaceful and kind.
Became
not kind, but not dangerous.
A little more tranquil. Just went berserk.
And it was just a
domestic animal.
It was the phrasing in the text of the news story from AP, I think, that just caught us all off guard. Tyler and I started laughing, which had Bill laughing, and he's trying to read the news. Anyway, it was not our most professional day in the studio, but I'm pretty excited about this, and Bill, maybe you know a little more than I do, because I just learned of this. I was actually across the hall in another studio speaking with our upcoming guest at 5:10. This is a gentleman we've spoken with before. Dr. John Meyer is joining us for a follow-up from our interview a month and a half ago. We spoke with him. He's a soil specialist at the Utah Climate Center, and we spoke with him about a month and a half ago about our reservoirs and some of the concern over wildfire smoke as it settles in the waters and on the land that's exposed, and then, of course, becomes a part of that. It's concerning. It's a toxic element basically introduced into aquifers, sometimes artesian wells, and so we talked with him about that. Today he's joining us as a follow-up because of 2 different things that happened last week. It was Tuesday evening, Governor Cox, right here on our own airwaves during the Direct Link to, I almost said delinquent link to the governor, which fits too, I guess, with this guy. I'm kidding. But the direct link to Governor Cox's event Tuesday evening, Governor Cox said, and this is close to an exact quote, he said the state is currently looking at 400 potential reservoir sites.
And that, of course, means that, yeah, we're not going to have 400 reservoirs.
Yeah, he was quick to clarify that potential sites. Yeah. So they're looking at 400 potential sites for new reservoirs because we've learned through this drought that we're not prepared. I mean, that's a paraphrase, but it's pretty close to an exact quote from the governor. An exact quote from the governor, which actually was a little controversial when he said it because of how he said it. He said, "We stopped damming things, and that was a mistake." And of course, a lot of folks said, "Whoa, you've got to factor in the health of the rivers and the effect a dam can have on the ecology and all that." And the governor clarified the next day that was a consideration for sure. The very next day, also on our airwaves, we spoke with Cache County Executive David Zook, and Mr. Zook told us that for Cache County, he had heard the governor's comments, so I asked him what he thought about those, and he said for Cache County, again, a paraphrase, not an exact quote, for Cache County, there's two kind of competing ideas right now, which is one gigantic reservoir somewhere, and the one that he said he and a lot of people within county decision-making bodies prefer would be 3 smaller reservoir sites. And again, this is, at this point, an exploratory process. It's
not like it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. He didn't say we've got these 3 sites and you'll start to see work on it immediately. It wasn't like that. It was, we're looking at these 3 potential locations for 3 smaller reservoirs that could put us in a position to meet the water needs over the next 50 years and assume all this population growth. So I got thinking about that, and I got thinking about our conversation with Dr. Meyer, and he agreed to join us and do a follow-up today on this. Specifically, what we've learned through the drought. When it comes to that, as the governor said, we've learned that we're not prepared, especially considering that we're not prepared for a drought, a 2-year drought, should this end up being the case. We're in year 1 right now. The governor said we're not prepared for that, and we need to change that. And things are potentially stacked up for these droughts to come more often, to go from being a 30-year thing or even a 50-year thing to a 20-year thing or a 10 thing due to climate change. So Dr. Meyer said, let's talk about all that. Let's connect all these dots for your listeners. Climate change, soil conditions, the number of wildfires, wildfire smoke in the air, snowpack, dirt settling on snowpack, this drought, the effect it has when it dries out the soil, what happens then, the effect it has on agriculture, the economy, all of that. Dr. Meyer agreed to, in the space of 1 segment, and I told him 15 to 20 minutes is the longest we can go on a single segment.
He'll talk fast.
He said he can connect all of these dots. So he's going to give it a go at 5:10 today. We'll also be speaking with the health officer of the Bear River Health Department. This is already at CacheValleyDaily.com if you'd like to read it. A statement today from the health officer at the Bear River Health Department that I would describe as basically pleading with the public at this point, as we literally see schools open, some this week, others later throughout the state. As we see the numbers, the spread of COVID-19, the numbers going up. Statewide, the Utah Department of Health today reported a 13% positivity rate. We haven't seen something like that since February. And it's confusing because at the same time you're getting good news, like 68% of the state, eligible population of the state, has received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. We're 2% away from Governor Cox's July 1st goal. We're a bit late, obviously, on that, but still 2% away from his July 1st goal of 70% vaccination, which Dr. Angela Dunn, when she was state epidemiologist, said is when you can say, okay, this thing is under control. But that good news, again, being weighted by this daily bad news, and it can get confusing. How can you have two of these things exist at the same time? And I've heard this from many people. I thought the vaccines were supposed to get us out of this. Well, they are. They are getting us out of this. The problem is you have a variant which only exists because the virus was allowed to spread for so long to so many people throughout the world. This Delta variant was first discovered in India, and it spreads more easily. It stays in the air longer.
And it can spread to more people.
That's right. It spread to more people
than the regular old coronavirus.
That's right. It does affect younger people more harshly than older people, or than the original COVID-19 version of this coronavirus did. And that's basically the answer as to why you're seeing hospitalizations up, why you're seeing deaths start to rise, and why you're seeing the positivity rate so high. Because it's spreading more easily and it's hitting a different set of the population. Remember when this all started, the big concern was those 65 and older, getting them vaccinated as soon as possible. Now, from what they're seeing from the data, it's roughly 35 to 55-year-olds. That's the problem area right now. Yeah. The younger people are getting vaccinated. The older people are getting vaccinated. 35 to 50-year-olds, they're not. And that's where we're seeing the spread. We're also seeing more children in this pop up. In fact, some tragic news out of Florida today with the loss of two children died and 4 teachers. Schools have only been open for, I think, 10 days.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's going crazy in Florida.
Yeah, Florida's way worse than Utah. So a plea basically from the health department to just take this very seriously, give it one last go of being careful. I know we're all sick of this. We'll actually speak with the health officer in hour 2 as well, but you can read the statement as written up in a news story at CashValleyDaily.com right now, and we'll talk with Jordan in hour 2, roughly 5:40 today, and he'll explain his reason for writing this press release today. All right, there you have it. A rough lineup of what we're going to talk about today. On the other side, though, redistricting got its first official meeting today. Now, you have to remember there are 2 different redistricting committees. There's the legislative committee, and then there's the voter-created through ballot initiative independent committee. They're both working independently on the same stuff. Well, today we got the first set of census data, and it gives you a hint about what might change here in Utah, but also how feisty this debate is probably going to get with some of what the data revealed today about where the changes are coming to, most likely. We'll talk about it right after this.
Welcome to Everyone's Metal Store, home to tons of metal products for the DIYer or experienced pros, with a sales staff ready to assist with any type of metal question. Palmer's Metal Mart in Logan is your metal store, no matter the size of your project. With one of the state's best selections of metal products under one roof, you will love the price and selection at Metal Mart. For almost 30 years, for projects big or small, customers have found their home for metal products and extraordinary service to be at Metal Mart. No matter your knowledge of metal products, Metal Mart is here to serve. Give us a call or come into our store in Logan and see why we're everyone's metal store. If you need metal roofing, tubing or pipe, sheet metal, angle iron, purlins or rebar, call Palmer's Metal Mart today. When it comes to metal, just remember Palmer's Metal Mart, everyone's metal store. It's that simple. Visit us online at palmersmetalmart.com or in Logan, just east of the airport. Steel, service, and savings. See you soon.
Procrastination isn't a valid retirement strategy. If your saving for a retirement approach involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday," it's time to make someday into today. Edward Jones can help. Contact your local Edward Jones financial advisor to get started today. Visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Edward Jones office. When it comes to meeting your retirement goals, time can be on your side, and there's no better time than now. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
The expert with a green thumb. It's the Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
What can you use on squash? The bugs and worms and everything are eating and killing them.
There are some very safe alternatives to use for insects, and it's called Lawn Shield. And the Lawn Shield is made for mosquitoes, especially in your lawn. But I use it in my vegetable garden. It works amazing, and it just repels the insects, makes them go away.
Thank you.
The Garden Guide, Saturday mornings at 8 on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Actually going to delay our redistricting talk here just a bit because of an announcement from Congressman Blake Moore. By the way, Congressman Moore is hosting a town hall, an in-person town hall in Davis County tomorrow night. For those interested, these are so Congress had a delayed August recess due to work on the infrastructure bill, which has since passed, and to also, basically take care of dotting all the I's and crossing the T's on that, and a budgetary process as well that had to at least begin before they went to that break. So they're just now starting their traditional August recess, which will be shorter. That does mean that throughout Utah, some of the schedule changed on these traditional in-person town halls. There weren't a lot of these in 2020. There were some. They were much smaller events, and they were usually held at locations where social distancing was possible. Most of the town hall events throughout the country actually were digital, were live streamed, or an interactive Zoom event and things like that. So this is a welcome return, I think, for a lot of people to actually be able to get out. So Congressman Moore has been using his time pretty judiciously when here in the district and trying to, according to his staff, I spoke with them earlier, they've been trying to squeeze in a town hall everywhere possible. And so just a quick rundown, they did have events throughout July in Uinta County, Daggett County, Duchesne County, and then coming up tomorrow, Davis County. That's at 6 p.m. at the Kaysville City Hall. Now, obviously, if you're from here in Cache Valley, you're welcome. Staff said they invited that. If there are folks who want to travel to Davis County to be a part of this, they encourage you to do so. If you're not able to, there is a second event, but it's tentative. Because of this convoluted congressional schedule on this budget process and more, the House is potentially going to be in session on the date that the Cache County event is planned for. Cache County event is planned for August 24th at 5 p.m. at the Cache County Event Center there at the fairgrounds, 490 South, 500 West. Again, that's August 24th here in Cache County, an in-person town hall with Congressman Blake Moore. But, again, a disclaimer on that, followed by, at 7:30 p.m. same day, a planned town hall in Box Elder, August 24th, 7:30 p.m. at the Utah State University Brigham City campus. So 5 p.m., August 24th, Cache Events Center, 7:30 p.m., August 24th, the Brigham City campus of USU there in Brigham City. So, or in Box Elder County. So that's the plan, is that these events will take place on August 24th. But what I've been told by Congressman Moore's staff is there's a tentative House vote that isn't certain right now, but if this vote is scheduled for August 24th, Congressman Blake Moore intends to be in D.C. to cast a vote. And if that's the case, they're hoping they'll be able to reschedule these Cache County and Box Elder County events on August 24th to a later date. But in the event that's not possible, that's why I'm telling you about the Davis County event tomorrow night. This possibly will be your only opportunity to be a part of an in-person town hall with Congressman Moore until the next recess, which I'm sure he'll make good on. He's been very accessible. But just a heads up. Again, this is all tentative. It's possible the House schedules the vote on a different day, at which point Congressman Moore will stick to the planned August 24th town halls in Cache County and Box Elder County, same day. But again, it's also possible the House schedules the vote on that day, at which point he'll be in D.C. to cast a vote. So just in case, if you want to be absolutely sure, you get to attend a live town hall, an in-person town hall with Congressman Blake Moore here in the 1st Congressional District tomorrow night, 6 p.m. at Kaysville City Hall, about a 55-minute drive away. That's August 17th, tomorrow night in the Davis County area, Kaysville City Hall specifically at 6 p.m. There is a in-person town hall being hosted by Congressman Blake Moore. And again, hopefully the August 24th events in Cache County and Box Elder County can happen, but there's a chance at this point that they don't due to this mixed-up schedule the House has going to recess late and more. So possibly they'll end up being canceled and rescheduled for a later date, maybe even late fall. So if you want to be a part of one now, for sure, make your way to Davis County tomorrow night, 6 p.m. at Kaysville City Hall. The full schedule, as planned, again, with potential changes underway, is available via the Congressman's website, blakemore.house.gov. On the other side of the news, some audio from today's redistricting committee meeting. Official legislative committee was presented today with the first look at census data. Where did people move to and from in Utah the most, and how might that affect this redistricting discussion? We'll get to that after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:36. The news is brought to you by Cache Valley Pharmacy. A new 3-day count of coronavirus cases from Friday, 1,138, means that 2,441 Utahns tested positive over the weekend. So that was 1,138 on Friday, 886 on Saturday, and 417 on Sunday. It's an average of 814 cases a day from the weekend, which is less than 903 a day, the current rolling 7-day average for positive tests. Now, the state no longer reports COVID numbers on weekends and holidays, but the total cases in Utah during the pandemic has now reached 446,808. The report today includes 12 new COVID deaths, including a Cache Valley man between the ages of 65 and 84 years of age who was hospitalized at the time of his death. It is the 119th COVID death in northern Utah. Among the 3 northern Utah counties in the Bear River Health District, there were 133 new cases during the weekend. The district's total case count stands at 23,825. There are now 23,091 considered to be recovered. Within the district, 1,063 individuals have been hospitalized over the course of the pandemic. Currently, 74,460 people in northern Utah are fully vaccinated. More than 160,000 vaccine doses have been administered in the district. KUTV reporting that firefighters continued their attack on the Parley's Canyon fire, and new recon mapping put the fire at 619 acres, but the blaze remained 0% contained. Officials confirmed the fire was started by a faulty catalytic converter. Thousands of residents and communities, including Summit Park, remained under evacuation order. Summit County Sheriff Justin Martinez said via Twitter that evacuation could remain through Tuesday morning. And guests at a reptile and bird center in West Valley City jumped into an enclosure over the weekend to rescue a handler after she was bitten by an alligator. Video taken by one of the guests shows an unidentified handler at Scales and Tails, Utah in West Valley, talking to guests about the alligator when it grabbed her hand and pulled her into the water on Saturday. The video shows one of the guests climbed on top of the alligator while another man helped the handler escape from the pool. The company said Sunday that the handler is recovering. KVNU News Time is 4:39.
This is Phil with Cache Valley Pharmacy. We love being in Cache Valley and want to thank you for your support. Cache Valley Pharmacy features the best prices in the valley, and as always, free delivery. If you're in the market for prescriptions, check first with Cache Valley Pharmacy for the absolute best prices, especially on compounds and insulin. We've been doing pharmacy better than anyone else in the Valley with free delivery valley-wide for the last 19 years. Cache Valley Pharmacy, the pharmacy delivery experts. Order your prescriptions online at cachevalleypharmacy.com.
KVNU weather for tonight, mostly clear, but areas of smoke, low in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy areas of smoke on Tuesday, another hot day, mid-90s. Southwest winds 10 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Areas of smoke Tuesday evening, and then partly cloudy. Slight chance of showers and thunderstorms Tuesday evening. Then mostly cloudy, rain showers likely, and a slight chance of thunderstorms after midnight. Wednesday morning, low in the mid-50s. On Wednesday, chance of rain showers, slight chance of thunderstorms, much cooler, high temperature in the mid-70s. It's been to 94. It is 92 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology, Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology. Call Dr. Paul Daines at 753-HEAR or visit cachehearing.com. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Rochelle Hanks bringing you the Daily Financial Market Report on behalf of Tron Arnold and Edward Jones for Monday, August 16th. We've been anticipating higher volatility as the global economic landscape evolves. Data is changing rapidly as the labor market tries to recover and as governments attempt to blunt the spread of the Delta variant and lift economic restrictions. However, in our view, the long-term outlook for equities is strong, with accommodative monetary and fiscal policy a tailwind for stocks. Retail companies are set to release earnings this week, which will shed further light on consumer demand and the effect the renewed spread of coronavirus is having on spending. So far, 87% of S&P companies have reported earnings that were higher than analyst estimates. U.S. equities closed higher today. The Dow closed up 109 points at 35,624. The Nasdaq closed down 29 points at 14,794. And the S&P closed up 12 points at 4,480. And in the bond market, 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 1.27%. In stocks of local interest, Thermo Fisher is up $9.82 to $554.46. Home Depot is up $3.73 to $335.05. Autoliv is up 36 cents to 98.27. Lowe's is up $2.97 to $193.48. Walmart is up $1.22 to $150.75. Nucor is down $1.89 to $124.28. Coca-Cola is up 25 cents to $57.48. Kroger is up 64 cents to $43.45. General Electric is down $1.57 to $103.35. And R.R. Donnelley & Sons is down 10 cents to $5.66. In commodity markets, the price of crude oil was down 97 cents at $67.47, and the spot price of gold was up $11.70 to $1,789.90. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and financial advisor Tron Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 1202 South Highway 89 in Logan. If you would like additional information, please contact any of our 7 Edward Jones offices in Logan, Providence, and Smithfield. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
Advanced Heating and AC is honored to be named Gold Medalist for the Best of Northern Utah in the AC HVAC category. They were named Silver Medalist for Place to Work and Remodeler Contractor. They thank you for your votes of confidence in their company. You have many choices when it comes to your home's heating and air conditioning system. Make sure you choose the Gold Medal winning company, Advanced Heating and AC. Call 752-7272 or stop by their showroom west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
Ah, that's better. Trade in the stresses of building a new home for relaxation. Visionary Homes Priority is giving you a stress-free building experience. Named the best home builder in northern Utah, Visionary Homes team will guide you seamlessly through the home building process. Call today, 435-228-4702, or visit visionaryhomes.com to learn more about upcoming communities in Nibley, Logan, and Smithfield. Visionary Homes, built for living, built for you.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News, the latest on the chaos in Afghanistan and the heartbreak in Haiti, plus President Biden's foreign policy record under the spotlight. Also, the different ways that the Delta variant is rippling its way through businesses, like disrupting the production of potato chips. And the latest in high-tech being used to steal your car or its contents. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Speaking of Congressman Blake Moore, before the break there, talking about the town hall schedule, which may change. Again, just a heads up for Cache Valley residents. As the August 24th planned events for a live town hall, in-person town hall for Congressman Blake Moore are at 5 o'clock here in Cache Valley at the Cache Events Center and 7:30 in Brigham City at the USU Brigham campus. There's a chance Congress schedules a vote that day that Congressman Moore plans to be in D.C. to vote on this legislation. He hasn't said what it is, or his office hasn't. But so that means those events may happen, but they may get rescheduled or canceled entirely. So if you want to absolutely be sure that you get to attend an in-person town hall with Congressman Blake Moore, it's been 2 years since Congress has been able to do this type of thing, you want to head to Davis County tomorrow night. Kaysville City Hall, 6 p.m. is an in-person town hall with Congressman Blake Moore. Again, if you want to be sure you get to one, because it is possible the Cache and Box Elder County town halls planned for August 24th get delayed or outright canceled due to the voting schedule in Congress. So just a heads up on that. As we were talking about that, though, Congressman Moore tweeted something out. You heard Bill talking about the Parley's Canyon fire, which is, I think, still only 10% contained. Is that still the current number that you know of, Bill?
I'll have to get the latest.
I read that about an hour ago, so it may have changed since then. But an hour ago, it was only 10% contained.
But it's not. They've scaled it down. I guess they did some more accurate mapping, because originally they said it was at 2,000 acres.
And now it's
on Saturday, but now 600. So I guess
that sounds more reasonable.
Yeah.
But still, the location is
apparently started right off I-80 by a car that was spewing out hot parts of its catalytic converter,
a faulty catalytic
at
converter,
various locations as it was traveling along the interstate there.
They do that if they burst open, and you can hear that if they burst open. So somebody knows they're driving with a bad one. In their defense, they're insanely expensive to fix. But you have to do it.
I know firsthand.
Yeah, but and I think it's kind of a trumped up cost too, because they know you have to have one legally. Anyway, we digress. Congressman Blake Moore tweeting out just minutes ago after we discussed the potential cancellation of the Cache Valley Town Hall planned for August 24th. Again, it's still on a schedule now, but there's a chance that gets delayed. So head to Davis County tomorrow night, Kaysville City Hall at 6 p.m. if you want to be a part of an in-person town hall for sure. That's a guaranteed opportunity there tomorrow night with just a 55-minute drive. So as we were discussing that, Congressman Moore tweeting out that he met with fire management officials and city officials, county officials in Summit and Salt Lake over the Parley Canyon fire. And he said that was yesterday. And he said he's since spoken with FEMA, and Utah's been approved for a fire management assistance grant. These are grants through the federal government that are offered in an emergency situation where you're going to need to really ramp up. Again, as Bill said, they've scaled down the number of acres burned on this fire, but its location, not that there's a great place for a wildfire anywhere, but there are definitely better locations for a wildfire than this one. This one's in a spot where either direction it heads, it's going to threaten structures and homes. And so that's the concern. That's why this is being treated so seriously. And so Congressman Moore announcing that his office, that he'd spoken with FEMA after meeting with officials on the ground here in Utah yesterday, and that Utah has been approved for a fire management assistance grant that will go directly to first responders in Summit and Salt Lake counties to help them beef up efforts to fight this fire. That was an announcement, again, coming as we were discussing the potential changes to his town hall schedule that they had alerted people in the media about earlier today. So a little announcement there from Congressman Moore via Twitter. All right. Finally going to get to this. This is just a bit of audio from today's redistricting meeting. Remember, there are two different redistricting committees at work now. There's the voter-created independent redistricting committee with members like former Congressman Rob Bishop, former State Senator Lyle Hilliard, etc., and their work is underway. They said they're just waiting for the data. Then there's this official legislative committee populated by lawmakers only, and same situation, just waiting for the data. Well, they have the data now, and we've got just a bit of audio from today's initial meeting that reveals quite a bit about where Utah's growing and where it's shrinking, where people are moving around, and how it might affect political boundaries as redistricting maps are drawn this year. We'll talk about it right after this.
Hey, it's Al Lewis. It's finally summertime, but if you struggle with CPAP, you might not be getting the sleep you need to get outside and enjoy your favorite summer activities. Fortunately, there's a treatment that will give you the sleep you dream of called Inspire. It works inside your body with just the click of a remote. Learn more at InspireSleep.com. Inspire Sleep Apnea Innovation. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you. And review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. We all know some of the side effects of not sleeping well, or forgetfulness, inability to focus, bad driving, hallucinations now and again. Does this sound familiar? City of Lewiston? Lewiston. We at My Mattress care about you and your well-being. Prove all the other cities wrong and show them that you do care about better sleep. And buy a mattress at My Mattress. If you're sleep deprived and can't remember where we're located, we're at 981 South Main by the South Walmart, Lewiston. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally?
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your qualifying wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove was voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah in the fireplace retrofit category. With the government's wood and pellet investment tax credit in place right now, Advanced Fireplace and Stove can help you navigate the paperwork for up to a 26% tax credit. That covers everything to have a new gas unit installed. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Every Saturday morning at 9, you get information to prepare you with retirement solutions for the journey ahead. It's Smart Money Ascent with Clayton Alexander of Teton Wealth Group.
How do we solve that number one fear or that number one concern? Make sure you never run out of money.
And Teton Wealth Group's Ethan Miller.
Then, when you leave Teton, when you leave our offices, you're going to have a plan that you're both excited about.
It's where your retirement questions are answered. Smart Money Ascent, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Today, the Legislative Redistricting Committee had their first official meeting with data to discuss from the Census. The voter-backed ballot initiative created independent committee is also meeting and also waiting for the same data. They haven't had their first meeting since the data was released this week by the Census Bureau. But today, lawmakers who make up this legislative committee did meet. We've got a little bit of audio from this, but I recommend anyone interested in redistricting and population and migration within the state, give it a listen. It's about a 2-hour-long meeting. But they revealed today what the census data has told us, recently released, about where people are moving to and from inside of Utah's borders, and also setting the stage for what could be a very heated, feisty even, debate over where political boundaries should be changed. Here's just a bit of the audio as a legislative researcher staff member, Jerry Howe, presents the basics of what the census data released this week tells us.
As you will recall, and we'll move into a discussion now about the report that we produced using the Kem Gardner estimates. We sent this report to you last month. The report helped identify general statewide trends among and between counties. Many of those trends hold, some do not, but the data you are about to review contains actual counts as reported by the census at the block level, which is infinitely more meaningful to redistricting. So this first chart, I don't want to spend a lot of time with this, but there's a lot of information here. We have Salt Lake and Weber County, and we have Utah and Washington County. And one of the big issues that you will have in redistricting is that Utah County now contains, right here, 20.2% of the state's population. That is up 1.47%. That doesn't sound like much, but 1.47 of 3 million is a chunk of people. And conversely, Salt Lake County was 37.3% of statewide population. It is now 36.2%, which is a drop of just over 1% of the state population. Again, the percentage is small, but the actual numbers is large. This makes a big difference in redistricting. You will get some questions as members of this committee about Salt Lake County, because you will notice that Salt Lake County grew by 155,500 people. You can see that right here in the population change column where my cursor is. You come down to Utah County, and it only grew by 142,835 people. So you will get the question, Salt Lake County grew faster in real terms than Utah County did, so why is Utah County getting more representation and Salt Lake County losing it? The answer to that question is the percentage that I showed you at first. Salt Lake County is losing statewide population, its percentage of statewide population, where Utah County is gaining it. So you look at that graph like this. With the statewide population, the statewide growth rate at 18.4%, all counties that grew below that percentage are listed to the left. All those counties that grew above it are represented here to the right. You can see Salt Lake and Weber County are losing representation. Utah and Washington are gaining population. So that is the first key in interpreting redistricting data.
And another way to put that is this is going to be one big political football. To contextualize what Mr. Howe just presented there, well, not just, it was earlier today. And again, you can watch the whole thing via the official legislative page, le.utah.gov. This was official legislative business. This was a public meeting of lawmakers making up this redistricting committee. And remember, there is a competing committee created by the voters via ballot initiative 3 years ago, that is underway right now, an independent redistricting committee. So those two committees will work in tandem. They'll coordinate a little bit, but this committee is the committee that will have final say, that will get a final vote of maps to recommend, and then, of course, the whole body has to vote on them, and they will. Once this committee recommends something, they won't argue. But 10 years ago, this went a little sideways. We ended up with a map that was pretty political. 10 years before that, the Wall Street Journal called Utah's redistricting a scam when it comes to gerrymandering, drawing political boundaries to protect incumbents rather than considering fair representation of people and where they live. It got a little better 10 years ago than 20 years ago when it got that label from the Wall Street Journal of a total scam. That was the headline. 10 years ago, it was a bit better, but there was still a lot of politics in it, especially with our federal representative boundaries. This year, will it be better? We have a lot more software this year. We have a lot more public input and a lot easier for the public to follow along, but who knows? This data sets the stage for, like I say, a big political fight, which is unfortunate because that shouldn't be what any of this is about. But to put my interpretation on what Mr. Howe presented as a legislative analyst to lawmakers today, despite the fact that Salt Lake County actually grew and Utah County didn't grow as much, as a percentage of population, Utah County is going to end up with an expanded representation map and Salt Lake County a shrunken map. If that happens to mean that one area gains a state lawmaker and the other area loses one, and one of those happens to be a red area and the other one happens to be politically blue, more left-leaning, that's going to be pretty political, and it's going to be a fight, even if the data backs that up, which it does. But it sets the stage for what lawmakers are up against, what this independent committee is up against. Not only do they have to crunch the numbers and draw some fair maps, they've also got to get the public on board and through a credible process. We'll see if that can happen. Coming up in hour 2, Dr. John Mayer with an update on droughts, reservoirs, smoke in the air, and more. And we'll also speak with the health officer at the Bear River Health Department